Hey everybody, this is April Payne with April Miller Coaching, and my goal is to help 100 people empower themselves and develop their own leadership skills so that they may see success within themselves. I've helped a lot of people already, and I'm not going to be slowing down anytime soon. One thing that frustrates me is that too many people give up on themselves and struggling time after time, and I'm tired of seeing it. I'm here to tell you, don't give up. You can do it. And I want to help you so that you don't have to give up on yourself ever again. Today, I want to discuss with you a big kind of controversial topic. I see it all over social media, and it's carbs. I've seen low carb, keto, all this information and a lot of misinformation going around, which is really kind of concerning. But yes, they're good. No, they're not. I've even seen full out arguments online about this. So I wanted to investigate what I knew already for myself, especially since people have mentioned that doctors support the low carb and keto lifestyle. In a previous blog, I've stated that keto, it was actually originally designed, it was back in the 1800s, designed for epileptic patients, as well as some other medical conditions. For that. So it concerns me. So I wanted to investigate more about carbs. So here are some quick answers to start off with. So do carbs increase your insulin levels? Yes, they do. Does increased insulin after meals lead to a fat gain? No. Are carbs inflammatory? That depends. If you mean like corn syrup, yeah. Whole grains, not really. Can a low carb diet work to help people lose weight? Yes. Is it because of carbs? Maybe, maybe not. Can eating an appropriate amount of carbs actually help you look, feel, and perform your best? Absolutely. Here is the problem of not eating carbs. Cutting carbs actually costs us. Most of us require some level of carbohydrates in order to function at our best over long term. We can cut carbs temporarily to help us lose weight. I've done carb cycling. But if we continue to do so over a long period of time, it can do much damage to our bodies, especially if you work out. So like I mentioned, carb cycling, that was 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on. That was only for 4 days in the week. There's also a refresh program that I offer to some people. It's only for a week. So you have to be just really, really careful. And we are told not to work out if we cut out carbs altogether with that refresh program. However, if you don't move around a lot, your carb needs are going to be much lower than someone who works out. If you like to exercise regularly, restricting your carb intake drastically can actually lead to decreased thyroid output, and increased cortisol output, decreased testosterone, impaired mood and cognitive function, muscle catabolism, and suppressed immune function. That leads to a whole bunch of health problems. So in other words, your metabolism might slow, your stress hormones go up, and your muscle building hormones actually go down. You feel lousy, spaced out, sluggish, cranky, and maybe even sick. And most concerning of all, you probably don't even lose that much weight in the long term. Let's talk about the decreased thyroid, because that is the biggest issue with especially women. Why aren't I losing weight? Check out your thyroid. So T3 is the most important and active thyroid hormone, and it's crucial to blood glucose management and proper metabolic function. If your T3 levels get low, people get constantly cold and sluggish. This is called euthyroid sick syndrome. There was a study in Vermont that found that T3 is very sensitive to calorie and carbohydrate intake. So when calorie and carbs are too low, your T3 drops. However, if you get enough carbs, it can reverse this. This study is not in isolation from itself, though. There's other studies that have proven that the keto diet drastically reduces T3 as rapidly as starvation. The keto diet drastically reduces T3 as rapidly as starvation. When you don't eat enough or eat enough carbs when you exercise, your T3 goes down. The reverse T3 goes up, therefore blocking that T3. You need the T3, remember? And you feel like crap, and your exercise suffers. If you're active, you need adequate energy and carb intakes for a healthy thyroid. Don't mess it up. All right, women and carbs. So women, I have some hard truth for you. Eating too low carb for too long can cause significant disruptions to many hormones. Women's bodies need to have enough body fat and nutrients in order to sustain pregnancy. That's what our body is all about. When women don't eat enough calories or carbs, or even when women eat enough calories but not enough carbs, they face disrupted hormones and can even lead to stopped or irregular periods because of the body's response to starvation and stress. Your brain gets that message when you reduce carbs for too long that the body is starving, which then leads to stress, and that is not healthy. So let's sum this up. Women who exercise and who are on a low carb diet for too long face the risk of a stopped or irregular menstrual cycle, lowered fertility, hypoglycemia and blood sugar swings, more body fat, especially around the middle, loss of bone density, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues, chronic inflammation, and worse, chronic pain, chronic fatigue and disrupted sleep, and a ton of other chronic problems. Let's switch gears and talk about muscle loss, though. Carb intake can actually affect your muscle mass even if the protein remains constant. So basically, if you're eating a high protein diet but reducing your carbs, you could be losing muscle because your muscle isn't getting the carbs it needs. Insulin is critical for building muscles. Insulin is critical. You get that from carbs. When you get enough carbs to meet your needs, you replenish muscle glycogen and create the building up of a hormonal environment. You get strong and buff, and that's good. For example, when I'm done working out, I have my Recover, which is a muscle building drink, as well as a piece of fruit. My body needs that. I'm not going to say fruit is not bad. My body needs that. If you're doing the same thing, that's what you need. On the opposite end, when you don't eat enough carbohydrates, muscle glycogen is depleted and a catabolic or breaking down hormonal environment is created, which means more protein breakdown and less protein synthesis. This basically means slower muscle growth or even muscle loss. This is bad. So what does this mean for you? You know, I get it. Sometimes we get so caught up in the excitement of seeing something new. It's working for people. It's quick, but we lose sight of the research we need to do in order to gauge whether or not it's healthy. But hard, cold truth, fad diets are mostly bad diets. I mean, low fat and high carb didn't work for us. Remember the 80s and the 90s? People felt hungry and deprived. They cheated with the fat-free, high sugar treats. Then it went the other way. People began to eat low carb, high fat diets. And you can have all the bacon, almond butter, heavy cream you wanted, but low carb doesn't work out well either. Strict diets are never the answer. More restriction almost never works. It's not good for the long term. Don't take your nutrition to the extremes unless you have extreme goals. And by that, I mean think bodybuilder. Strategic moderation is the key. So remember, your individual carb intake does depend on your goals. Are you wanting to lose fat? Are you wanting to gain muscle? Or are you just wanting to maintain? It depends on genetics. We all have different body types, and some people have medical conditions. It depends on your carb source, if it's a refined carb or minimally processed. And it also depends on your activity level. You know, as a health and fitness coach, your health is my concern. I love each and every one of you, and I want to see you succeed in something that is long-term. So if you are interested in tightening up your nutrition to be more healthy, I want you to check out To Be Mindset, www.aprilmillercoaching.com/To Be Mindset. That will give you some good direction and you won't have to eliminate anything. If you're interested in joining one of my success groups where we support each other in a private group setting and see success, you can reach me on my Contact Me button at aprilmillercoaching.com. I hope this helps, and we will see you next time.